Fox 5 News at noon starts right now.
The CDC expected to change course today and no longer recommend masks indoors. We'll have the latest on the new COVID-19 guidelines. Plus,
it's been almost 2 weeks since East Point police found the body of a teenage girl near an abandoned house, but they still don't know who she is, and they're looking for answers. Details ahead in minutes.
But first, we begin with the turmoil, the chaos, death, and destruction in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin ramped up the invasion of that European nation with targeted assaults from the air and the ground. This is a live look right now at downtown Kyiv. Ukrainians fear their capital city could fall in a matter of days as troops face overwhelming opposition from Russian forces. President Joe Biden announced sanctions against Russia as the full-scale war against that sovereign nation continues.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war, and now he and his country will bear the consequences.
Now, in just the last hour, the Council of Europe suspended Russia from the continent's human rights organization because of the invasion of Ukraine. Thank you for joining us at noon. I'm Portia Bruner. Now, thousands of Ukrainians have fled the country as Russia continues to pound the capital with airstrikes for a second day. Fox's Madeline Rivera has the latest details for us.
Russia continuing its brutal assault on Ukraine, ramping up fighting in Kyiv, prompting fears that the capital could fall within hours or days. Russian troops closing in on Ukraine's capital city. Soldiers on the ground, heavy fighting in and around Kyiv as gunfire and explosions reverberate around the city. Neighborhoods reduced to rubble with residential buildings ripped open by rocket blasts. Those who choose to stay behind, terrified every time sirens sound. Thousands fleeing their homeland, making the desperate decision to evacuate.
There is a bombing everywhere and people are afraid and scared.
As intense air and ground assaults continue in other parts of the country and troops bear down on the capital, fears that Russia may be seeking to overthrow Ukraine's government increase. Ukraine's leaders imploring citizens to stay and fight.
We are standing in line for the weapons. We can stand against Russian aggression. We can stand against Russian occupation. We are united together with the whole world.
President Vladimir Zelensky calling for a meeting with Vladimir Putin.
Let's sit down for talks to put a stop to people dying.
Originally, Moscow said it wasn't willing to come to the table unless all Ukrainians lay down their arms. But now they're indicating they may be willing to talk. U.S. and NATO allies meeting Friday in a worldwide effort to stop Putin. Leaders piling on sanctions and pleading for an end to the attack.
I beg Mr. Putin, stop the craziness of this war, now.
Moscow has demanded Ukraine drop its bid to join NATO. President Zelensky saying he's now willing to discuss a non-aligned status for his country. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox 5 News.
We've learned nearly 4,000 soldiers stationed at Fort Stewart here in Georgia will soon deploy to Europe. The troops will reinforce NATO allies. Their commander says they are trained and well equipped for this mission. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has already impacted the global economy. That includes what you're paying at the gas pumps. For the first time since 2014, crude oil has surged above $100 a barrel. The national average gas price now about $3.50 a gallon, but that is certainly expected to rise in just a matter of days. We'll be sure to stay on top of the latest developments in Ukraine. Fox 5 will bring you the latest both on air and on our website at fox5atlanta.com. In other news now, the White House has confirmed President Joe Biden will nominate federal appeals court judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to be the first black woman on the Supreme Court. She would also be only the 6th woman to serve on the high court. If confirmed, Jackson would succeed Justice Stephen Breyer, who is retiring. We expect the president's official announcement around 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll be sure to carry that announcement live here on Fox 5. To news now here at home. We know how long a Florida man who admitted he illegally shipped turtles and venomous snakes from his home in South Georgia will be in jail. A federal judge has sentenced Ashton Rance to 2 years and 9 months in prison. The judge also ordered the 35-year-old man to pay a $4,300 fine. He must also serve 3 years of post-release supervision. In 2018, Rance admitted he shipped 3 eastern box turtles and 16 spotted turtles from his Valdosta home to a customer in Florida, knowing they would ultimately be shipped to China. Authorities say they found a rifle and a shotgun inside of his home. To a news alert now in Carrollton. That's where police want to find the woman in these very clear surveillance photos. Take a look here. Officers tell us the woman used stolen credit cards taken during car break-ins. Someone broke into 2 vehicles last weekend on Rome Street. A short time later, investigators say this woman used a credit card taken from one of those vehicles to buy something at a Dollar General on North Park Street. And now to a case that has touched a lot of viewers. Officers found a young woman murdered nearly 2 weeks ago in East Point, and police still don't know who she is. You've probably seen these sketches now. Someone killed this freckled-faced teenager and then dumped her body behind a vacant home. Fox 5's Lindsay Tuman tells us more about the emotional toll this case has taken, not just on the family, but detectives.
East Point police say they've gotten tips almost every single day, some of them even coming from other countries, including Germany and the UK, but none of them have panned out, and it's left officers really looking for answers. For almost 2 weeks, East Point detectives have been working to find out who this girl is.
It is a shock to the conscience of ourselves and the detectives working the cases.
Police found the teenager's body near an abandoned house on Ben Hill Road after midnight on February 12th. She had been beaten. An autopsy determined she died from blunt force trauma. It's not clear if she was sexually assaulted. Officers don't believe she was left at the scene of the crime.
The most challenging aspect of it is we don't know where the incident occurred. We're not sure if she was brought there. We don't think that anything happened on that site.
Since the terrible discovery, officers have been trying to find out who the girl is. Investigators released these sketches showing a teenager with freckles covering her cheeks, a gold necklace that says 2005. She was also wearing a beaded anklet that says Wicked.
I've had some hard time sleeping at night. You know that there's a family out there without a daughter, a family member.
Officers say learning who the teen is will bring them closer to catching whoever killed her.
We want closure for the family, we want closure for this young lady, and we want closure for us.
East Point police also don't know if this girl might be local, if she could be from out of state, but they're asking everyone to take a close look at those flyers and call the East Point Police Department if you might have any information that could help. Reporting in East Point, I'm Lindsay Tuman for Fox 5 News.
Turning now to the latest in the COVID-19 pandemic, Americans may no longer need to mask up in a lot of public settings. The CDC expected to make that major announcement today. And the Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin joins us live now with details on what we expect. Beth, it sounds like a lot of folks are going to go ahead and have to put that mask stash away for now. At least we'll see how long it lasts, right?
Yes, maybe, Portia. You know, the CDC Director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, is going to hold a media briefing at 3:45 this afternoon. So we'll be bringing that to you at 4 and 5 and 6. And she's going to be talking about these new guidance, this new mask guidance. And it's going to change the way sort of that we look at risk in this country, or the CDC looks at risks and what situations warrant wearing a mask. And instead of focusing mainly on case numbers, you know, because we've had a lot of case numbers, and if you look only at cases, then most of the country, more than 95%, is considered to be in a high-risk area, you know, where masks might be recommended. Instead, they're going to look at the severity of disease, and they're going to be looking locally at how is, you know, the level of virus in the community affecting hospitals. Are emergency rooms filling up? Are, you know, ICUs filling up? And if not, they're going to determine, you know, that maybe you don't need to wear a mask when you go out into public situations, because it doesn't, you know, under those metrics, or looking at those specific metrics, if we don't have severe cases, if we don't have overwhelmed hospitals, we don't need to wear masks in public settings, the CDC is expected to say.
So Beth, I know a lot of folks are ready to stash the mask at this point, but is it possible there are going to be some folks who should continue to wear masks?
Yes, and it depends really on your situation and your level of risk and the risk of the people that you are around that you live with. So if you are someone who has a condition and that compromises your immune system and would make the virus dangerous for you, you need to consider continuing to wear a well-fitting like an N95 or a KN95 mask when you go out into public settings. Same thing if you live in a house, with or in a home with somebody else who has a compromised immune system. You want to take extra precautions. If you're a parent and you have a young child and that child cannot be vaccinated because he or she's not eligible yet, that may be, it may warrant, you wearing a mask in public. If you're somebody who's fully vaccinated, if you're boosted, if you're not considered at high risk, this might be an opportunity to take the mask off and sort of dip your toe back in going out, in the sort of like in a pre-pandemic way. Portia?
Right, yeah, right in time for spring. So I'm curious now, it's going to be some settings where most of us really will not need a mask, is what you're saying, right? Sounds like mostly these outdoor settings particularly.
Well, not just outdoor settings, but, we're talking about when you're running errands, when you're going to the grocery store and the pharmacy and you're, in stores, that kind of thing. When you go to the movies, when you go to the gym, you may no longer really be not just required, but recommended that you wear a mask. And, if you continue to wear a mask, we know that these masks work very well, especially the well-fitting, high-filtration masks work very well at protecting you from being infected, from other people. And so, if that's what you feel comfortable doing, and I think it's going to be hard to just take off the mask, black and white and be done with it. So you may want to ease off of it and, take your mask off in lower risk settings. So where there's good circulation, where there's good airflow, where you're outdoors, where those kind of situations, if you're in a big box store with good filtration, it may be okay to take off your mask. Portia?
Wow, that is so hard to imagine, Beth, after 2 years of these guidelines of just going out and not, where's my mask, where's my mask, where's my mask? Interesting. All right, we'll see what the CDC says. Good to see you, Beth. Thank you for joining us. All right, time now for a check of today's weather as we look at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. That's from the camera perched there at the airport. Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Jeff Hill joins us now with the forecast. Jeff, seems like those clouds are kind of holding on. They're not taking off anytime soon.
No, not like the planes there,
yeah.
But they'll be taking off. They'll be getting out of here at some point later on this afternoon. The clouds will, and we'll see some sunshine. But right now we do still have the cloud cover. We still have a little bit of rain, which for the most part now is just south of Atlanta, moving through McDonough all the way down toward Thomaston, and that's going to continue to move east over toward Edenton and Athens. So the clearing will be slow today, but it'll start taking place as we work our way through the afternoon. And then we've got more rain coming in for the weekend. It looks like Sunday is going to be a wet one. So I'll tell you more about that and have your complete forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Now take a look. This is a man who some authorities call one of the world's dumbest criminals. Coming up on Fox 5 News at noon, we'll show you what detectives say he did that landed him behind bars. The police arrest a man accused of impersonating a police officer, and we've now learned this isn't his first run-in with the law. You'll hear from detectives about what they say he did. But first,
a lot of times we don't even get charges, let alone a conviction. So we'll take this small victory.
It's a verdict George Floyd's family calls history-making. Next, we'll take a closer look at the guilty verdict the jury handed down against the 3 former police officers who violated Floyd's civil rights.